Um, we beat ourselves. I just think we beat ourselves, man. We were up 8 with 2 minutes to go. I watched the game like 5 times. I was sick every time I watched it. It's just we beat ourselves. They didn't do nothing, in my opinion, really.
When you turn the page forward, you look ahead. You've got Texas, and then you got Texas Tech. You got West Virginia the next 3 games.
Yes, sir.
How do you guys kind of approach that, knowing that you've got 3 teams that are roughly top 10, top 15? And then
Um, in my opinion, I think we could beat every team in this league. I watched the Kansas and Texas Tech game. I feel like we can compete with them. I just feel like we're young and we just need to go through trials and tribulations to be able to, go get over that hump that we need. And I think that loss really opened our eyes up as a whole. Yes, sir.
did you talk to Kate at all about the game?
We talk. We talk. I say the night after the game. Yeah. So we just talk about things that we think wrong and right.
Awesome. Thanks, Bryce.
Thank you, man. You're welcome,
Next
man.
question from Frank Bonner of the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Bryce, I know you guys lost this close one, but looking at this loss and then the other games that you guys were able to win, the close ones you guys were able to win, how much of that experience will help you guys, get over this close loss, knowing that you can do it if it comes up again?
I think we can get over the hump. I think we will get over the hump. When we lost, the teams are so competitive. We're just in there mad, like we just lost the ship, and we're just in there down. But in practice today, we was up, very excited, very energized, ready to get back to Texas on Sunday. So I just feel like we're gonna be good.
And then what are you seeing out of Texas in terms of what you guys need to focus on going into that game?
With Texas, they have a lot of length. I think they're top 5 defense in the country, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just gonna have to finish tough at the rim, move the ball, not hold the ball a lot, and just play as a whole. And on defense, we're just gonna have to box out tremendously because they have a lot of athletes.
Appreciate you, Bryce.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The next question is from Marshall Scott of Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Bryce, you mentioned a couple times already that you guys had a good practice today or yesterday, whenever it was. Is there anybody that's kind of started that? Is there anybody that made sure that you guys had a good practice?
Not really. Us as a whole, we talked in the locker room like just because we lost don't mean it's a dead season. We finna get back right and get back on track where we was. We dwelled on it a little bit after the game, but our coach told us we beat ourselves, so there's nothing to be down about. It's just things that we can improve on that we don't want to make the same mistakes next game.
How do you kind of evaluate how your game through these first 6 or 7 games that you guys have played?
I think I'm getting in the groove. I think I just try to be unselfish as I can and move the ball and play defense and try to do the little things that get W's. Um, I just try to lead. I don't try to lead out loud. I try to lead by example. So I just try to help in every little way. I don't have to put the ball in the hoop, in my opinion. I just want to help win.
And we talk about you and Rondell being kind of energy guys, and you get Avery back. He's another energy guy. MA's
Mhm.
kind of an energy guy. Is it fun playing with guys like that who you can kind of bounce that off of?
It's tremendously fun. They take so much pressure off you. Like another team, when you're on the ball having pressure, it's very hard to make passes. So we can get in the passing lane when they're floating passes or bouncing passes. So it's tremendous help. It helps us a lot.
Appreciate it, Bryce.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Another question from Jacob. Go ahead, Jacob.
Bryce, I'm going to piggyback a little bit off the last question Marshall just asked about the group of you guys with energy. I feel like there needs to be a nickname for this group that comes in at the time. Do you have anything? Are you guys calling yourselves anything? What's going on with this group?
Nah, me and Dale was thinking about something with us too, but we never thought about the group yet. Me and Dale's coming up with something though soon. We just haven't came up with it yet.
I was saying, what are the ideas? You got any ideas you can pitch out there or what?
Nah, not yet. It's a bunch of bull. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, sir.
So with Rondell, and you've talked about him a lot, I understand. What makes him such a good defender, though?
I'll say he knows his IQ on defense is is tremendous. His to be able to anticipate what's going to happen before it happens, to be able to know what the offensive player likes to do, like if they like to pull up going right, or if they're going left, they're going to drive all the way. It's just little things like that we look at. And we watch film a lot at home, way more than we watch it at school. Like when I go home, I'm gonna go watch the game again and see what we did and what I could do better. So we just try to get better and study who we're playing tremendously, just like the professionals.
Now, how often are you and Rondell hanging out together out away from the court?
I say not a lot, but it's a good amount of time. Me, him, and Kay, we spend a lot of time watching.
You say, is it film you guys are doing a lot of times or what?
Yeah, it's like a film, or we might say like Kay might say, Bryce, you got to do this right here, and I'd be like, okay, for sure. We just telling each other. There's no criticizing. We're just trying to help each other, like literally. Yes, sir.
Is it different to have a freshman like Cade be able to come and kind of direct that a little bit?
Yeah, it's like we're all coaches in a way. It's like we have a coach, but we all can coach each other in a way without each other getting mad or each other getting pissed off. So and we're getting better at that too. I'm not gonna say we're perfect at that, but accountability is coming into play with us, and we're getting better every day at it.
Awesome. Thanks, Bryce.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
As soon as we started talking nicknames, I knew Marshall Scott's hand would come up. I think he has a suggestion for you and possibly a comment.
I'm going to keep it to myself for now. I think whatever they come up with will be better than anything that I could come up with. Some would say Operation Spark Plug, but that's just me.
Yeah.
So I believe Farron told us that you guys were roommates. Is that right?
Yeah, sir.
How have you kind of seen him handle? He's struggled with a shot early on. He hit 2 in a row the other night, and there's a hope that kind of gets him going. How have you seen him respond to his early struggles?
He's a shooter. I call him a sniper. So take the next shot. That's all we say. Like if you're open, bro, we get mad when he don't take a shot. That's what I say. If like sometimes he won't shoot, he'll be passive. We get mad at him for that. If he shoots a shot, before it even touches the rim, everybody on the bench are putting up threes. Like we got tremendous confidence in him. He's in the gym right now. We just got out of practice. He's in the gym shooting. So he's very reliable.
So you haven't seen anything change in him mentally. He's not down on himself.
No.
You guys are keeping him going.
No, sir. He's great. He's great.
Got you. Appreciate it, Bryce.
Yes, sir.
Any last questions for Bryce while we have him? Well, thank you for joining us today, and best of luck in Austin. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, guys. Be safe.
You bet.
Oh, yes, sir. I like to hear it.
Hey, you mean to start with a question here, Stephen, while we're going?
Yeah, get it started. No problem at all.
Okay. No, I would ask Keylan, what do you sense, you guys got off to the rough start last year, then had to battle your guts out and get hot after that. Now, is there kind of, especially with the returning guys, is there an urgency that you guys are taking to Austin for this game Sunday? Just to not be 0-2, just to get back on the right track and not to have that kind of 0-6 start you had last year.
Oh, for surely. Dating back to last year, we had a rough start to conference play. And seeing how we got 5 players from last year who's came back this year, who's been through that type of play. So, we really just, educated ourselves, and, we've been taking the game more seriously. We stick to the details, the little details, and what happened the other night is not going to happen again. We should have finished out the game, so we're going to take what we should have done here to Austin. And Austin's a good team, but we know what we got to do.
So when you look back on last season, and I know it didn't end for anybody the way you wanted it to end because you didn't get to finish, but to go to Austin and play the way you played at a time when Texas was in a must-win situation, Keylan, how do you remember that game in your freshman year? Was that, if not the top memory, one of?
Yes, sir. So that was really that game against Texas at Texas was really a must-win game, for both teams. They needed that win to try to clinched their way higher in the standings and conference, and we needed it to do the same. They were currently, I guess they were on a winning streak, and we were on a winning streak as well. So we had to find that win. And when we went to their spot, it started to click for us. We're already like on, I think, 6-game win streak. So then we were already on a 5-game win streak. So we just had to take care of business when we got there. And like, that was a tough fight. At Austin, it's a tough fight. They made it a dog fight, but we figured it out. So I think that's the same thing we got to do going towards Sunday. We know what we have to do. They're going to play. They're going to fight. They're one of the top teams in the country this year. So, yeah, they're ready to approach us anyway, but we just know what we got to do because we can compete with any team at this point.
Awesome. Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon, my man.
All right.
Next question from Jacob from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Keylan, how's it going today?
It's going good. How you doing, my man?
Good. Hey, I want to have a little fun here. You had that dunk on that behind-the-back pass from Ice. Kind of walk us through that and what you saw on that.
So we work on a drill every day called defensive transition. And the point of that drill, just like the play in the game, so it would be 1-on-2 in certain situations of the game. And what you don't want to do is play level to the ball. You don't want to be on the same plane as the ball. But in that situation, it was actually good for me to be a couple steps behind Isaac because that player did not see me coming in his rear end. So, like, as soon as he turned around, he just see me taking off. And plays like that, we work on those almost every day. So I seen something like that coming. And in his case, it was 1-on-3 because we also had Montreal trailing in the play. So either or, not trying to talk down about their players in that play that he was trying to commit, but it was going to be a poster regardless. It was coming.
This may seem a very generic, easy question, but how fun is something like that in the moment for you?
That feels great. In a situation like that with your boys and the place you love with great fans and just a great environment, like those are opportunities and moments that like I will never forget and I will never take granted of. That first dunk was my first dunk was an and-one dunk and it was a poster. So that's for surely one I will always remember. And it's my first college dunk. So of course that's gonna stay with me forever. And it's just I feel like I can be able to tell other people about it. I can show it, especially all the things that came with the dunk. So it's definitely one to remember. I never forget that.
I apologize. I should look this up. I didn't realize you didn't even dunk before this huh? I didn't even realize.
Never.
That. So what took so long?
There's a saying, 3 is always better than 2. So that's what I live by.
I got you. On a different topic, how have you been kind of maybe keeping Caleb a little positive? I know he's had a lineup change, not coming off the bench now and stuff. How have you been kind of speaking to him, and how's he handling it?
He's taking it pretty good. Obviously, he's a team player. He just wants to see the team win. Obviously, once we lost, it hurt. It hurt all of us. It hurt him a lot too. I just try to tell him to stay positive, stay team always, stay with the team always. Understand every situation is for the best of the team. So him not starting is just for the best of the team. It's for the best of him. So when he comes in, I just tell him just be a big impact as soon as you step foot on the court. So then every time you touch the court, they know you're in. They know what you're going to do. So make it hard for coach to, per se, take you out. So then I just try to keep him positive all the time. Like I have my games where I'll start out the game pretty good. Then I have my little stretch late game. And he's talking to me to stay positive, stay with it. I'm just trying to do the same for him. I try to tell him it's going to start clicking in a minute. Just keep with the game. That's how it works.
Awesome. Thanks, Keylan.
Thank you.
The next question from Marshall Scott. Go ahead, Marshall.
Thanks for taking the time. I don't know how Mike's going to line you guys up on Sunday, but there's a chance that you'll be guarding Greg Brown primarily. How do you go against guarding a guy with his athleticism? I guess you have some form of practice against MA.
Greg Brown from film and just watching highlights since he was in high school last year. Seeing he's a very head down, aggressive driver. His best, seeing like on film, his best way is to attack people off the ball reversal. So just stay grounded. I want to make him a shooter. Like he can make one. I want to make him beat. If anything, I want him to be his prime. I want his primary game to be shooting. Because the last thing I want to do is keep him going towards the glass or driving towards the rim. And that's what we don't need. So he's a great player. I just know what I need to do to minimize his game compared to just making him a shooter. If he makes shots, then we'll adjust. But it's going to be a good battle. It's definitely one that I'm willing to take. It's a great challenge for me and him.
Gotcha. And then going back to that dunk, it was on like the Sports Center accounts and stuff like that. I imagine that's your first kind of blow up moment like that. Was that cool to see the reaction of all of it?
No, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. I wish we would have got the one with that, but I won't take away from that one specific moment. That's one that I always remember. I shared that moment with my guy Isaac. Using him making the pass, so he plays a huge part in that. But that's definitely a moment not to forget. And Sports Center, appreciate that love. So,
thanks, Keylan.
Thank you.
Next question from Frank Bonner of the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Keylan, how's it going?
It's going good, my man. How you doing?
Doing well. Obviously, you guys would have preferred to win that game against TCU, but how does breaking down the film of a loss like that, how can that help expedite, the maturity of this young team?
It helps a lot seeing what we need to do. We don't really recognize how we lost all the way right after the game. Then we come back the next day, we'll see it on a full standpoint. Then it's just going home, understanding what we needed to do, then rewatching it, then going executing how we should have finished the game out in practice. Then we just figured out the game like that. So it doesn't really just happen over a couple of hours. It'll take a day for you to really sink in. Then what to really do, and that's where the maturity comes in. Are you going to stay sad, mad after a loss? Or are you going to mature up and find ways to get the next game back? See how we should have got that game and apply that into the next game, and that's what we did. And it all started with Coach B and the coaching staff, and they spent all night trying to watch the film. So we know what we should have done. Now we know what we got to do to not let that happen when we go to Austin.
And so after you guys were able to kind of dissect through the film, what were some of your takeaways in those last, 2 minutes?
The last 2 minutes, we were up 6. We didn't score for the last 2 minutes. And for that last 2 minutes, we needed just to either get a stop or score. And there was a time when we got scored on and we didn't score at all. And that really hurts. In this league, plays can just happen out of nowhere because there's top players everywhere. So now it's in our situation, we were desperate. We almost didn't score for 3 minutes. It's been 2, but it's feeling like 3. We have to get the ball up there. We just have to finish a defensive play with a rebound. Then we can seal the game. We either got to score or finish the play with a stop. And we didn't do neither. So we watched film on that. We did a lot of defensive drills, did a lot of possession drills on finishing out ball games. And now we know how to execute when it comes to late game. And we can fold under big pressure. And it started with a lot of missed layups at the beginning of the game and a lot of free throws going towards late game.
Appreciate you,
Keylan. The next question is from Ryan Breeden. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Keylan, how's it going?
Going good, my man. How you doing?
Doing good. So looking ahead again to Sunday with Texas, they're a team that has a lot of length, a lot of height, a lot of athleticism. What are some of those things that height that they've got is going to how's that going to be challenging for you guys?
So one thing we're going to have to really battle on is the rebounding aspect of the game. They have a lot of athleticism, and when it comes to rebounding, it's really an athleticism game. So we have to go back to the basics. We got to be technical with every box out and no run-outs on any of the guards going towards the defensive rebound. We all got to hit somebody and stick with it, and so we can help another teammate get the rebound. So this is one of those games to where it might be a guard like Isaac or Rondell or 1K getting 5, 6, 7, 8 rebounds. While us bigs, we're battling down there trying to keep them off the glass. So it might be one of those games, but like just offensive wise, just playing with them. We have almost the same amount of length and height. They're dealing with a couple more 6'11" players, so they got that. But other than that, it's the same ball game.
They may have some height, but you guys do have some of the guard heavy lineups. So do you think that like the speed and just like having that amount of guards is going to be a big asset for you guys?
Looking at this game, it's really a guard-oriented game. They have about 3 prime bigs. I know they have Kai Jones. They have Sims. Then the role player off of Sims. They got the other big. Other than that, Greg, we're looking to maintain him. And the guards, we're just going to really have to play smart on them and let other players make plays. They have a great team of playmakers, but we're just going to try to make other players make those plays.
Thank you.
Any other last questions for Keylan Boone before we let him go? Sounds good. Hey, Keylan, we appreciate you. Safe travels and best of luck in Austin.
Y'all have a great day.
Right.
Yeah, Keylan.
Have a great one, Bill. Bill was on.
We will be right back with Coach Boynton. That's exactly right.
Haston, that hat looks good on you, man.
What's up, Mike?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, did you see Tiger Woods and his son hitting balls? Did you see that?
No.
His son is 11. His swing is like exactly like Tiger's. It's unbelievable. So I wore my Tiger hat today. Yeah.
You get to know me a little bit better. I know nothing about golf.
Well, you know about genetics.
I've never swung a golf club.
Oh. Hey, it's an expensive habit. So
I'm actually, what's up, Thomas? You look good, kid. I'm hoping that my son is good at a sport I don't know, so I don't have to worry about coaching. So.
Coach, we appreciate you joining us today. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you joining us today. Both the players kind of talked about how this was a really eye-opening last few days for them, and that it really did translate to practice the last 2 days. What have you seen from your guys in response to Wednesday night?
I love the response. We're always very honest and direct with our guys, and again, I want to stop short of saying TCU didn't do what they needed to do to win, because they did. They made shots. We didn't, but we felt like it was a game that we should have been able to close better. You build an 8-point lead. We scored 50 points in the paint. We out-rebounded them, forced 20 turnovers. made 9 more free throws, but we just didn't finish. I mean, we did a lot of good things, but what we got to understand is this league is unforgiving, and no one goes away on their own. You have to put them away, and we didn't. We left the door open, and they took advantage. And so here we are with an opportunity to get back together and practice for a few days. The energy, the attitudes have been good, and I think the kids are excited, understanding a little bit better of the sense of urgency that you have to play with for 44 minutes.
Your first question from Jacob Unruh. Go ahead.
Mike, kind of along those same lines, last year's start in Big 12 play, not that they're close to that by any means. I know it's one game, but how do you kind of deliver the message that this could – you've got to go and do this to avoid bad starts like that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't brought up last year to the guys. We got a totally different team, totally different circumstances. And game 1, I don't know if you remember from last year, was very different than game 1 from this year.
Yeah, that was a little.
Yeah, so it's different. Obviously, it's an easy thing to say, but we're not thinking about it in that regard. What we got to really do is focus on trying to prepare ourselves for a really, really talented and experienced Texas team that we're going to have to play really well against to have a chance to win. And if we focus on anything other than that, we're doing ourselves a disservice, and it's not going to give us a really good chance to have success in there because they're long, they're deep, they're really, really good defensively. And yeah, I'll be honest, I think I've got some pretty good athletes on our team. I think if you put the 2 rosters together and just line the people up in order athletically, I don't know if our first player will show up until about 5th or 6th.
Wow.
So that's what we're up against. And I'm just talking athleticism, just pure athleticism, man. And they got guys who play at a different altitude. So
when you see Texas is playing better like that too, what else stands out to you besides their athleticism? Is it their guard play? Is it their bigs? Is it Greg Brown? What is it?
Well, first of all, Shaka's a really good coach. He's done a hell of a job with all the criticism he's received. You know, this is the most continuity he's had, right? For 3 straight years, I think, and no fault of his own. I mean, it's probably going to happen here. He lost a lottery pick. Ooh, it's hard to build on that guy if he's not there, right? You can continue to recruit other ones, but when you're turning over guys as much as he has, it's challenging, right? And so what he's got is some continuity in his roster. He's got a point guard who started from day 1 in this program, who's a senior for him, who he's known since he was about 12 years old, who knows he's Shaka on the court. I mean, Matt Coleman is his coach. And then he's got another tough-ass guard in Courtney Ramey, who's been through the league a couple of years, and several other guys who, I mean, they only play 1 freshman, really, really good one, but only 1. And everybody else knows what it takes to prepare. They know what it takes to get themselves off to a good start. And so we're up against a great challenge. But I think most of it is just their continuity and experience throughout their roster. But it certainly starts with Matt Coleman and Courtney Ramey.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Next question from Marshall Scott. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, you got a good haul of that Texas Titans AAU team. You played against Mike Miles the other night. You'll play against Greg Brown tonight. I assume that you put out some feelers for Greg, and did you ever feel like you had a shot with him?
I don't know if we recruited Greg early. I did find out about his connection to the University of Texas early on. So you kind of recruit that kid with a probably less optimism. But we took a swing. And then obviously when we recruited the other guys, it was worth at least, trying to keep the iron hot a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, we kind of had a pretty good feel that that's where he would end up. And I think, again, he made a good choice. He's playing for a great coach at a great university.
Last year, whenever you guys went down to Austin, you really caught fire from 3. Is that a shooter's gym? Is there anything to that maybe you guys can get going in there this year?
I'm not a shooter, never was. So I don't know. I'd like to take Thomas Zalga back down there with me. He played 2 pretty good games the last couple of years in that arena. So, but I feel confident we we got to continue to get good shots. We got to continue to open the floor up, and maybe Sunday is the day, right, where we start to make shots consistently. But it seems to have played pretty well over the years for us. We played some pretty good games in there in my time. I even remember my years as an assistant. It came down to one of the last few possessions. My first year as head coach, I mean, we had the chance to win. I think they scored with a couple seconds to go. I think the second year was close, and probably not as close. And then last year we won. So we'll be prepared. They're a good team. We'll be prepared.
Some portions of the internet will credit Texas' success this year to Shaka's hair. Is there any chance that you grow out the hair?
I can't. It's a credit to him. I did grow a beard this summer, but my wife didn't like it, so she wasn't going to let me get on national TV when the season started with a beard. Unfortunately, but my guys get on me about my hair being too short too. But I don't think I can grow my hair like Shaka, and I certainly couldn't have it look as good as he does.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Next question from Jimmy Gillespie. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Hey, Coach. How's it going?
Good.
Coach, obviously, you've been on the road a few games. What's the difference, also limited fans or no fans, how much the difference is it this year compared to last year, like playing road games?
It's different. I mean, it's still something you're getting adjusted to. We've kind of run the gamut of this experiences, right? At Marquette, there were no fans at all. At Arlington and Wichita, there were very few fans. So the atmospheres certainly are different. But when the game starts, I'm sure that probably matters more to the guys. I don't really notice it when the game starts. So I can't say. The more difference in my mind is just all the other things. The benches being separated, the only two people in the elevator, so you got to plan to leave 45 minutes earlier than normally would have because the elevators only allow two people in, and got to wear a mask on the plane, and you can't eat together and stuff like that. So that's been more the adjustment for me than the actual game, because again, once the game starts, I'm not sure I really notice anything that's going on other than whether our team's playing well or not.
Do you think maybe because it seems like there's a lot of close games or upsets, and there are always, but with limited fans and I guess home teams having an advantage, and that without that advantage, is it going to allow for more close games or road teams to be more successful maybe this year?
Yeah, I think home teams are 0-4 in conference play in the Big 12 to start. So I don't know how much that matters, but TCU lost at home to OU, and we lost at home to TCU, and then KU went to Tech and won, and K-State went to Iowa State and won. So maybe it has something to do with the lack of energy or emotion or whatever, and maybe it's affecting the officials. I don't know that to say, right? Sometimes the crowd influences, right? Maybe how officiating goes, not purposely, just human nature. You think you hear something that's maybe not happening, but I can't really tell, Jimmy. I think probably later on as we get into the season, we have more data, we'll be able to have a better assessment of it.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Next question from Bill Haston. Go ahead, Bill.
Mike, I guess maybe your fans want to hear you say, "Oh man, we're going to double the urgency and we're going to take, more urgency to Austin or whatever." I mean, you already go into every game with urgency. So, I mean, to emphasize that or talk about it, it just seems like you're stacking pressure on top of pressure. But you do have this history at Oklahoma State of these 0-2 starts that lead to, you having to kind of battle your guts out and get back into the race. So are you guys cognizant of that, or does it just go without saying that you're playing a road game in conference, and that in itself results in the urgency to play well and to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a fair point. I mean, there's no hiding. We for whatever reason, and this year probably was the best chance we had, right, to win an opener, and we blew it. I mean, we just flat out didn't close. There's been some criticism, and I hear it. I don't get consumed by it, but I hear it. We didn't run good offense. Maybe the last play, we probably could have got a better look. But prior to that, we get the ball a foot from the rim, and Avery ball's rolling around the rim, and Caleb just kind of thought it was coming off. He tips it in, so we get a goaltend, but we got a shot a foot from the basket. The next play, Caleb catches the ball on the baseline, and he just kind of loses it out of bounds. But again, we get the ball within 2 feet of the basket, and then the next possession, Bryce gets in there, and it's questionable, right? Maybe he got fouled, but they didn't call it. I mean, it's not like we're taking terrible shots and the guys aren't trying to execute. They didn't go our way, and there's no excuse. We have to get better. We got to finish better. We certainly have to make our free throws and defend with more urgency down the stretch. But you also got to give credit to the other team. I mean, TCU had to make those shots. RJ Nembhard was really, really good. He's a fourth-year junior, so he's been around the block. So I don't want to disregard it or discount it like it doesn't matter, because I want to win every game.
Right.
But it's not going to help our guys Sunday for me to act like we're playing the Super Bowl. I mean, we need to play well, and whether we win or lose, we'll have 16 more of these really hard games. So we got to find a way to play really well for 40 minutes on Sunday and then evaluate what happened after the fact.
Well, I mean, just for the record, too, the 0-2 starts, it's not like an Underwood Boynton phenomenon. I mean, it's been since your first year at Furman that OSU was 2 in the league. You know what I mean? So, I mean, winning league games is hard, but I guess if you go huddle with your guys and say it's a must win, I mean, they're all must wins, and pretty soon they quit hearing it.
Sure. And again, I think more to the point is we should have won Wednesday. And obviously we're not even having this conversation because we did for most of a good portion of the game, all the things that we said we needed to do. We had to out-rebound them. We had to get to the free throw line more than they did. We had to take care of the basketball. We did those things. We didn't make 3-point shots. I mean, you got to make more than 3 threes. That's part of it. We can't go 3 for 17 from 3. And then when you get to the free throw line, you got to convert. So we should, again, I don't want to take anything away from TCU. They won, but we have to find a way to close out the game Wednesday. So we're not worried about whether we should play with like our hair's on fire, because we have to still, emotion's good. I say it's a good place to start. It's a bad place to end, right? There's got to be got to have strategy. The guys have to be able to think. You can't think when you feel pressure and execute. And so that's what we've been focused on the last couple of days.
Thank you.
No problem.
Frank Bonner, you are up. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Mike, earlier when I asked you about the benefit of winning close games that you guys started the season with, you talked about how it allows you to let them know that, look, these are things that we need to work on versus a blowout. Well, on the flip side of that, losing to TCU in a close one like that, how much are you able to tell your team it's not like we've got to scrap everything, right? I mean, we did everything we were supposed to do. We got to be better in this area and that area. And there's still, confidence in what the plan is, coming out of that game.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has lost any confidence in anything we're doing. I think one of the things that was evident now, right, especially for the guys who hadn't been through a Big 12 game, the margin, is slim. There have been, I think, our game was a 1-point game last night in Lubbock. Our game was a 1-point game. OU TCU was a 3-point game, 4-point game. Like that's the Big 12. You're not running away from people. They're really good coaches. They're really good players, high intensity. And at the end of the day, what we have to understand is we can't get too high. We can't get too low. We can't relax when we're up 8. We can't get depressed if we're down 11, which we were. I think we're down 13 in the first half the other day, right? And guys battled and fight. You just got to keep fighting. You got to keep stepping in there, take a hit, deliver a blow. And you got to try to deliver the knockout blow at the end. We didn't, and they did.
I appreciate you.
Marshall Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, I'm sorry to keep asking this. I only ask because I get asked like 7 times a day. Is there any update on Montreal?
Not at this point. And again, I promise as soon as there is one, we'll provide one. We're honestly, we're trying to help him work through some personal issues. Obviously, you don't want to get into the specifics of it, but we care for him. We love him. He's around, but we're trying to help him. A lot of this is about basketball, and when he's ready to help us basketball-wise, he will. But he can't help us in basketball if we can't help him in his personal life. So we need to do that first.
Thanks, Mike.
Jacob, you had a follow-up question as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike. The defenses are playing Cade a little different the last couple of games. Wichita State was really mindful of him in the post, and TCU was too. How have you seen Cade kind of adjust to that and handle that defensive approach?
I think he was he missed 3 layups in the first half of the game the other day. I think it was 1 for 9 from the field, but it was only 1-3. I mean, he missed 3 shots. Now, part of that is he's shooting over a 7-foot guy down there. And so they did a good job of corralling him in the paint, making him score over. And those are shots that I've got confidence that he'll finish most nights. I think the real key is we got to get ice going more. We got to get, and I told him this, he's 5th on our team in shot attempts. Can't happen. He doesn't have to be first, but he can't be 5th. And he's got to get more assertive. He's deferred a little bit too much with respect to Cade and wanting to help him, do the things that he does best. But we need him to be much more assertive offensively, which I believe in turn will make it much more difficult for teams to focus as much on Cade.
He's adjusted well in games, it seems like, because, he had a good first half at Wichita State, and he had the winner, obviously, but then he had a really good second half against TCU, a sneaky good second half. Is that a sign of his maturity already? What is that? Is it just his talent? What's shining through there?
Yeah, I think it's a sign that he understands what this team needs from him. Like we got to get our shot makers to start making shots, which will help the game become easier for him because he's making a lot of plays on his own, which obviously his talent gives him the ability to do it. But he's got a great sense and feel for when he needs to be in attack mode from a scoring standpoint. And he knew we needed him to score late. He did a good job of getting into the lane and finishing. I told him he needs to become a 90% free throw shooter. That's the challenge to him. He's a good free throw shooter, but he's got to make him at an even higher clip because then he becomes really, really hard to guard because teams are going to foul him. He's just too big and physical when he's driving downhill against much smaller guards most of the time. But he's got a really good sense of when to be more aggressive versus when to try to get his teammates involved.
And you don't get a sense he's putting too much pressure on himself, right?
No, not at all. In fact, I think he understands very well that he's got to help his teammates have success because he is one of the guys who can get it on his own, right? That clipboard, so I needed a clipboard. Like I needed to know exactly where to be to have a chance to get open, to get a shot. Like Dave Odom had to be like, you all set screens for him. And Mike, if you're not wide open after that, still pass it. So he has the ability to, go off script a little bit and create offense on his own. So he knows he's trying to help his teammates who need more help get shots early, and he'll find his later on.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
We appreciate everyone. Oh, do we have one more question come in? Ryan, you get the last question. Go for it, Ryan.
Thanks. Yeah, Mike, you mentioned earlier, and you've mentioned kind of all season, just how good the Big 12 is and how much you wanted to stress that point to young guys who never played in a Big 12 game. Do you feel like after Wednesday, do you feel like they really kind of started to get it? Do you feel like those guys were like, okay, yeah, I see what Coach B is telling me?
I think so. There's no substitute for that, for going through it. For understanding that an 8-point lead can disappear in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, that you can be down 13 and cut it to 5 and then get to an 8-point lead, that there are ebbs and flows of the game, and that when you have a team and it's on the line, you have to go win. You got to go win the game. You have to have that. We're not gonna wait and let the clock run out. This isn't let the clock run out deal. Like we're gonna go make plays. We're gonna keep pressure on, and you just don't get that, especially with a bunch of young guys right? Because they've never played where the urgency, like I would imagine none of our freshmen have ever lost an 8-point lead with 2 minutes to go in a game.
Yeah.
Never
I
happened.
mean, that's fair.
I
Yeah.
think Kate Cunningham just lost his first game in like a year and a half. Like he literally went undefeated in high school. I think he lost one game in AAU, and I think the year before he went all the way to the national championship. Like these guys are used to winning. It just looks different because the level of competition is so much greater. The level of coaching is so much greater, and there's good players everywhere. Again, I think Bryce Williams is probably the best athlete I've coached here, and he would be like 6th on that list of the 2 teams, right? So that's what we're dealing with. Dealing with hot. This is hot. This is high level big boy basketball, and you got to go. You got to go fight for 40 minutes and win, and not just hope it ends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach, for joining us today. Safe travels and best of luck in Austin.
Thank you. See you guys.